Hello, friends in schools. You know, we had a program, or at least an idea a few years ago of our piano lessons having the spirit of no pianist left behind. Because we've always felt, you know, there's the idea that, well, those children are very gifted, but our child will never play, and our experience is everybody can play. And now, especially with Piano Wizard, everybody can play. So then we think about this important concept of no student left behind. But I think the best way we could share what's in our heart today is the idea of no child left behind. And what is it that would be left behind? Delayna and I have given our life to music and teaching, and we will continue to do so, but we're just two tiny voices amongst a giant choir in this world. So we turn to other voices. In fact, how nice. From Book 2 of Academy Music, we included many things, and we included words that have been important to us for a very long time. It speaks very well. United States National Child Welfare Association. We just love this. Through music, a child enters a world of beauty, expresses his inmost self, tastes the joy of creating, widens his sympathies, develops his mind, soothes and refines his spirit, and adds grace to his body. What else do we have to say? I mean, a child that has music, we've been watching these children for years, and we've seen some pretty dramatic changes because of music, and always for the better.
Well, I think about my own life. If I hadn't had music in the schools, I don't really know where I'd be in my life right now. Because music not only, I not only learned music in school, but it also helped me when it came to math. And I think I memorized my spelling words by putting them to a tune. And if I didn't put that to a tune, it was very difficult for me.
No music, no math.
That's right. It was very difficult for me to remember.
And you know, the people that you grew up with in school, I remember my school music teachers, our uncle, who's 96 years old. In fact, he was a music teacher at the Hershey School for Boys all of his life. And oh, to see him at 96, the boys that are now men, and come back and thank Uncle Pernell for the gift that he gave them. The children that come back to us and thank us. Oh goodness, I remember a young man, a very shy and inward boy, and he really was having a lot of emotional problems, insecurities. He was probably in the 6th or 7th grade when he came to our piano studio, and his parents, I think he loves music, and our young friend, and it took 3, 4, 5 years, but he was a member of our children's choir. He became a part of our children's musicals. He studied piano with us, and he came into his own. He was going to the university to study pharmacy. He was in his senior year, and he had just blossomed into this beautiful young man. He had found himself through music. This is not a young man that would have been on the football field. Football's great. We love football. But there's this balance, and we need to step back to look at where our schools were less than 300 years ago. For Bach, religion and music were the two most important subjects, and we celebrate these great composers of Mozart and Bach and Beethoven, and what would our world be without them?
Well, I wanted to go back for a minute. We are really right now just speaking to you. We have no script here. We just want to talk to you about our feelings about music in the schools. And when you brought up football, sports are great. The kids need the sports, but we do need that balance. In sports, the kids have the teamwork that they learn, but there are some kids that maybe they're not so good with sports. So they get into a music program where they have an ensemble experience, and there's nothing violent. I don't think we sometimes think of sports being violent, but at the same time, you're out there in football and you're smashing into each other, and then you got the bat and you're whacking something. I mean, I'm thinking maybe a little over the edge right now, but yeah, it is physical. And sure, there's a lot of heart involved when you're playing sports. When you're playing music, I think you dig deeper into that personal feeling. Maybe it's because I didn't play a lot of sports. I was
Played music.
track, but I was more a musician. But I think about not having that heart and going within yourself when you're practicing all alone, and going within yourself to find that feeling that you want to put into your music. And it shares so much about who you are and your personality.
Something else about sports and teamwork, there's how many players on the baseball team and the football team and the basketball team. In Music Wizard Academy, we have an infinite number of team members. And this is so cool about music. You're not going to have a 5-year-old boy playing on a high school basketball team and say, "Throw me the ball," you know. And this is the thing about music, and we see it here big time. You know, you've seen the children come in with us, 4, 5, 6 years old, and our college students, and our guest artists, and Uncle Pernell, who's 96. In music, we are always on the same team, and it also lasts for a lifetime.
You're also learning another language.
Oh, goodness.
And this is the universal language that everybody that knows music can read together. When we start in school, so many of the schools, in the rural communities especially, they just English. That's the only thing that you're learning. I know in a lot of other schools, when you get into the larger cities, that they do offer a lot of different languages for the kids. But with music, you're learning to read an entirely different way. And I think even that helps. I know it does, because we had some parents say what their children were doing in school because of their lessons at Piano Wizard.
Yes.
Their reading was improving. They were able to relate better to their teachers. And I think sometimes that's just through the mentoring program. We have mentors that change. The kids, there may be 5 mentors in a room and 10 kids, and that student doesn't get the same mentor every week. They switch around. Everyone has to adapt to the personalities.
You know, we tend to put science over here and music over here and things. Oh my goodness, Bach, the ultimate musician, mathematician, spiritual father. There's a great quote from a 19th century philosopher that music is an arithmetic that only the soul understands. This measurement of numbers. Goodness gracious, the word music comes from the word muse, which is to think. So what are we teaching our children in school? We want them to think. What are we teaching our children in the world? We want them to feel. We want them to feel a sense of camaraderie that sports builds, but music blossoms. To find the little girl here today listening to the piano and the smile on her face, and oh, that was beautiful and precious. What if all of our children were saying, oh, that's beautiful and precious about one another? The long-term effects of music study are phenomenal.
And to get some of the high school kids to mentor these young kids. You can do that very easily with the mentoring program. And then when, say they're switching to a high school, or they have someone that's 3 years, 4 years older than them, probably 3 years, because when they would go into high school, they'd have a familiar face and somebody that they've already been learning from. So if you can get this into an after-school program where the kids are coming in, sometimes just there's not a whole lot of structure. So you get it into an after-school program where you can bring in some of the high school kids to help the kids for an hour and just do some teaching, do some singing. I really think that you will find a big change in your school in so many ways, in the grades and the way the kids are getting along. We all know the Mozart statistics, where if you listen to Mozart while you're taking a test, it improves the scores.
You know, there seems to be a key word that we might be leaving out, and that word is budget. We're very sensitive to that word at the university and the schools. This is maybe the starting point for Music Wizard Academy. We're not looking at an entire new source of funding to revolutionize the schools with music. How simple it can be. Every school has a computer lab. Most every school has an after-school program. And the beauty now of Music Wizard Academy, and this is what is really in our hearts and we're excited about, is to equip that lab with the keyboards and the software of Piano Wizard. That's not an expensive proposition. And as you were saying, We have the children, you have the high school students that can be involved, the other teachers, not a lot of musical expertise needed.
Well, and I was thinking about even if you have an after-school program that's maybe K through 5 or K through 7, take the kids that think they're a little bit too old to be there. Maybe that's in their brain where we both know they're not. But they think they're too old to be there. Let them be the mentors. It's very easy for a 5th grade student to be a mentor of a 3rd or even a 2nd grade student or younger. You really don't have to go in. It's not that you have to know already how to play the piano.
Not at all.
To be a mentor, all you have to do is learn how to play the game with somebody, and then to be able to 1, 2, 3, click. It's really that easy. I know when I say that, people don't always believe when you say it's really that easy. But Piano Wizard is very simple. You got step-by-step instructions, and anybody can play, really.
Well, and we're
is the
just
truth.
completing a week of video lessons. Now, we're here now for just a moment, but with video lessons of each song on the game, with music books to go with it, I mean, we're there with you. And the thing that's most excited is that we're both pianists, but the potential of Piano Wizard is astounding because every child can learn to read music. So as the children are going into an after-school music wizard program, eventually they'll find their way in your band and in your choir. And as a young student, they will be reading music, they will be singing, they're ready to play the trumpet, the trombone, the tuba, percussion. This is like the most fertile ground for young musicianship that we have ever seen in our lives. And everybody talks about, well, revolutionary this and revolutionary that, and you know, well, we know about the Revolutionary War.
And the Revolutionary Etude.
Oh yes, we've been working on that one too, but why not? Mozart and Beethoven revolutionized the world, Lincoln and Goethe, and right now, hello, we landed on the moon. In music education, in our hearts, in the 21st century, we'd like to do what a great pianist suggested. The great pianist from Germany, Wilhelm Kempf, said, and he was wonderful. He said, our 20th century has been magnificent, an age of science and technology. But what we need in the 21st century is another renaissance, where we hear the voice within, where the heart is governing our lives, and as simple as it could be, Music Wizard. Whoever would have imagined that a keyboard with colors could do all of this? But it's changing our lives, it's changing the lives of the children that we're with, and where we started this moment. No child left behind. Beethoven said, I always wish to have the wide-eyed wonder of a child. So if music comes into all of our lives, the world could be a far better place. And right now with Music Wizard Academy, just move the door open. We'll be there for a long time with you.